All right, good. Okay, we're live.
Well, hi there. It's Jonathan Denwood, and I've got my partner in crime in this live webinar, session 2. Got Spencer Forum with me, and this is going to be a series of 3 webinars where we're going to be covering how to use a modern WordPress stack of plugins and build membership websites with marketing automation that can compete with ClickFunnels or anything else on the internet at the present moment at a much more affordable price with much more flexibility. I'm now just going to throw it over to Spencer and he'll do his intro, and we'll delve into this as quickly as possible. So over to you, Spencer.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks everybody for joining. This is our second session of 3 sessions. The first one we had in April, this one we're doing now in May, and the final one is on June 11th, I believe, 12:30. And these 3 together are the sort of triple play for how to put together a modern WordPress membership site using the tools that you may or may not already know of. But if you haven't, it's going to simplify how many of you guys actually accomplish your goal, whether it's for yourself or for your client. And the important takeaway here is that WordPress is such a dynamic platform that one of the main things I do on a regular basis at WP-Launchify is to further help people with either our free discovery tool or follow-up consultative advice understand that you can do things easier, faster, better by keeping up with the modern stack of stuff. Just because, you know, in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, cars all had engines and carburetors and ran on gas doesn't mean that you can't benefit from learning how an electric car like a Tesla works. Similarly, here in WordPress, we're showing you how a smaller stack of efficient plugins working with marketing automation are going to do some amazing things. So with that, let me just jump in. Today, what we're going to focus on is how to configure your stack. And that is to say, there we go. That is to say, how to onboard new prospects to your membership site using marketing automation. Second thing we're going to talk about is how to use sales funnels instead of a shop to sell those memberships. And a shop meaning something you might get through one of the plugins like WooCommerce. And then finally, how to use or not use social networking features like BuddyBoss for your site. And the answers as to why or why not will be surprising, but it's something that we teach you to consider when you're using our free discovery tool at WP-Launchify.com, because a lot of people just assume, well, I should do it, right? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So what we're going to start out with is, what's this modern WordPress stack all about anyway? Well, if you haven't seen the first video, you go back and watch it. But in general, the stack works to manage, protect, and sell access to the content. Things like your documents, your lessons, your courses, your videos, and even your social network features. And by providing this stack of plugins that work together, each of those plugins does its very specific role. So for example, in the old days, you might have used a particular membership plugin, and that one plugin had to do onboarding users, taking their money, managing subscriptions, controlling access to content, organizing the lessons, blah, 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 blah. Those days are effectively over. Instead, you will use, like we talked about in the first video, 5 or 6 plugins that each do those jobs perfectly and individually, just like using a unique Lego block to build some larger thing. So not one giant Lego block that does everything, but you snap together the ones that you need. And in this case, that's the origin of how we get the membership site built. Now, by choosing these few key plugins, you are able to always have the modularity of best in class. Who knows what the next new learning management plugin or the next transactional engine plugin or the next even automation plugin might be? We're seeing this every day. For example, I'll mention by name, Fluent CRM is a new plugin that takes over the job of the CRM tools that used to be only available in the SaaS space. Boy, oh boy, is that an exciting thing. And if you've been following this stack method that I'm teaching you here, you can snap that right in with no problems. Had you been using some other CRM by itself, you would have to think about, wow, how can I reconfigure my entire business now versus just snapping in and snapping out? So you avoid things like code lock-in, custom coding, having some person you don't know write you a bunch of spaghetti code and disappearing, or the actual costs. Think about it, of a SaaS platform. If everything you want to do in your membership site is available in a plugin that typically with open source plugins is a once a year cost, your total cost of ownership is in the hundreds of dollars, maybe low thousands, and it's a fixed thing versus essentially paying rent to one of the services every year. Even in a platform like a ClickFunnels that you mentioned, ClickFunnels is $300 a month for the real what you need kind of features. That's $3,600 a year just for renting the space. Okay. Here, you will have full and complete ownership and control in a box. Your WordPress site is open source. You own it, you control it, you can save it, clone it, copy it, recreate it, do it on another business. Nobody can take it away from you. And that is very different than a SaaS platform or a SaaS service. So whether it's for yourself or your client, there's a huge amount of leverage, and especially if you represent a client. I'll mention this as an aside, but for example, one of the things we used to teach for years at 1WD-TV, but now I teach you here at WP Launchify, is that you make the TV dinner that you store in the freezer, whether it's for yourself or your client. You don't start from scratch the next time you're hungry or your client's hungry. You just take that TV dinner out of the freezer, maybe change one or two things like the logo or what it is that's being offered as part of the feature set, pop it in the microwave and serve it. But your client is going to pay full price for that solution, even though you didn't have to make it from scratch. Marketing automation is sort of the game changer that got all of this going. So I have a very direct relationship with Jack Arturo at WP Fusion. I'm available at the WP Fusion site or through a free call. But the idea is that WP Fusion was one of the game changer plugins that connects an outside or now an internal CRM to a WordPress site. And what that allows you to do is to track every individual user's personal journey through your website, through your follow-up email. What does that mean, Spence? That is, for example, compared to Google Analytics. Those of us who use Google Analytics know that they claim it's great for everybody, but in reality, it's very limited for us, the consumers. We don't know the names or emails or any other identity information of all those. New anonymous visitor came to this site. New anonymous visitor went to the checkout. New anonymous visitor did this or that. We can only see in an aggregate that a certain number of gray icons went to the site per day or per page or whatever. Whereas if you use the methods that I'm teaching you, you actually get to see John Denwood just took your lead magnet. John Denwood just said he prefers this. John Denwood signed up for your membership. John Denwood did this and that and the other. And as such, you can create an experience with tags and custom fields that changes the journey and the funnel for John Denwood to make it more appealing to him, to avoid him wasting time on seeing things he doesn't care about, to give him a feeling that you care about him personally because you know the things that are important to him. And so unlike Google Analytics or other kind of generic analytic tools, marketing automation not only gives you the tools to control the access to your membership site and talk between the plugins, but it allows you to craft these very personalized, unique experiences that increase the sign-up rate, lower the churn rate, and overall give greater satisfaction to those people who are paying you for access. It all starts with getting the real name and email. Now, I was looking for a picture here of a fishbowl with cards, but back in the day, if you had a store, a retail store, they put a fishbowl on the counter so that anybody who came to the store saw a little sign that said, please give us your business card, and once a week or month, we're going to draw somebody out of here to give them a prize, like free products or services. Why? Because that way they were able to capture the information about people who were just browsing the store, to send them offers, to send them follow-ups, to let them know about things that would be interesting enough to maybe get them back to buy. And really, that's exactly the same thing here. If you set up your membership site and your marketing automation the way we describe it, and we can help you do, you can essentially take anybody, whether it's a cold lead, a warm prospect, or even a previously paying customer, and you can close the sale more easily because you can now contact them to let them know, hey, this is something that's interesting to you. This is something you've expressed a desire to see more of. And that's the essential element. In the future, you can also determine that some people are, let's call it what it is, dead weight. They're never going to buy. And you can just say, it was nice to know you. Bye-bye. You're off my list. So let's talk about that thing I was mentioning about what's the difference between selling using a shop versus a sales funnel. Well, one of the products that I author is Launch Flows. And this works into the mix for many store owners who are using WooCommerce, which out of the box is one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful plugin in WordPress. But it gives a Home Depot experience out of the box. You sort of wander into this big box, grid of things that this place offers, and then you are on your own to kind of click and click and click and click and hopefully find something that matches what you need, add it to the cart, kind of go back to the shop thing, add something else. Oh my God. That's not how to sell in most membership sites. A membership site is like a dating relationship. It's a process where you meet the person first, see if you can offer them something that's attractive to their needs, their pain point, their desires. Get them to go out with you for a coffee date, pre-COVID. Go to the Starbucks, spend 5 minutes, get to know each other, or maybe have a chat first. And if that works, then you upsell them. You can say, hey, this worked out really great. Did you have fun? I did. Let's go for lunch tomorrow, or maybe dinner or a movie. And you keep moving up your value ladder or even moving horizontally. But because you know who they are, because you have allowed them to self-identify and you keep track of what their preferences are. I like yellow. I prefer chocolate. I'm from Chicago. Because you are able to use the tools of the website to change it dynamically, like a chameleon, into something that only offers things that relate to what they've already said they want, or send emails that only refer to the things they've said they want. You can essentially build a custom step-by-step journey for each individual without extra work on your part once it's set up, so that everybody feels like, man, that was the best damn date I've ever been on. I can't wait to see you for lunch. I can't wait to take you out to dinner. I can't wait to introduce you to my family. And in doing so, you are creating a sales funnel instead of a hope you find something in my Home Depot, look for the people with the orange vests if you get stuck. And that is the way to do it today, where people are frustrated. They don't want to waste time. They are overloaded with choices. You don't need them to make choices. You just make it easy for them to identify the things they want and need in your pain point solution of a membership site. Okay, red herring time. Warning. Social networks are awesome, right? Everybody should have one. Why not? It worked for Facebook. Why shouldn't I just plop in the Buddy Boss framework or something else and call it a day? Well, anybody who has children or relatives that have kids know immediately why. Because when you do that, you've converted your top-down publishing empire into a two-way publishing empire. You've gone from being the big boss, the kahuna, the one that sets all the rules, publishes the only things you want people to see and know about, into a, guess what? I just gave the kids permanent magic markers and I turned them loose on my brand new remodeled kitchen. Because that is what is going to happen. If you are not prepared to either pay a moderator or be a full-time moderator, do not be compelled to turn on a social network. We have proven through 30,000 plus clients and students over the last 15 years, most WordPress websites do not get a financial benefit from the social network. In other words, the people who would be willing to pay you as a member will pay you as a member regardless of whether they can publish themselves or interact directly with other members. They're there for your expertise. They're there for your organization, your concierge experience. Like when you go to a fancy resort hotel, there are places, sure, that you want to interact with other, hotel visitors, maybe those swingers clubs. But most people go there and want to talk to the concierge. They want the concierge to take care of their whole thing, and they want to be pampered. Think of it the same way. So if you want to open up a social network first, primarily, then you should consider doing so and use the Buddy Boss framework, because they have taken, Michael Eisen and his team have taken over the last decade or more, the bbPress and BuddyPress plugins. They've refined them with their own custom theme. They've added the capabilities to do mobile apps and essentially made it into what I will legitimately call a framework that works within your WordPress site, But because it's so paramount to what you're doing, you need to choose that first. If a social network is not something that's for you, then you're going to want to use a different combination of things, and maybe only like a limited set of the Buddy Boss features or none at all. And either way, be prepared, moderate, moderate, moderate. There is not one day that you can let that Buddy Boss social network get away from you, because when you come back, it will be like literally, what's the name of that book? I can't think of it for a second, where the kids like get stranded on the island, and it'll come to me. Help me out, John. I'm having a senior moment, but like the kids will run
the book. Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies. Thank you. It'll be like Lord of the Flies. The adults will come back to the island and see stuff that they could never have believed happening. And we've seen this a lot. Okay. So here's how you get started. And then we'll talk about these examples. If there's questions or otherwise, we'll follow up. Step one is that we have a free tool that is in beta. It is something that we're building out as we go. So it is at WP-Launchify.com. And what this does, it gives you a free software analysis of the things in the stack that would be useful for your use case. There is no limit to the use cases that we're developing out or for the software or other services we recommend, but the questions in the AI we're building is evolving. So right now you will see a very good representation of how it gets you started with a very nice set of suggestions. Over time, you will be able to see how more curated that gets down to a more granular set of things, including, maybe alternative choices. So there won't be just one software for every part of the use case. Sometimes we'll say, here's the one that fits you best, and here's the other ones as well. So this is a free tool. There's no obligation. It's a really great place to get started if you've just started being introduced to this topic today. Step two, following the discovery call, we have an array of services that start with a free call with me. One of the things that I've been able to do in the WordPress community is become friendly with, knowledgeable with, or hired by almost everybody that is making the software or marketing the solutions. And as such, I like to think of the best benefit I bring to this community of being the guy who knows which is the best thing to work with another thing in a modern way. And I've got Luke Stacy, been working with me for many years now. Together, we are able to deliver to people an answer to their larger problem, which is, Spence, I'm overwhelmed. I have no idea even where to begin with WordPress, but this is what I want to do. So having a real conversation with me for free for 15 minutes or so is oftentimes like the best 15 minutes anybody does, because I will immediately turn you on to what is your next step. And it's not always paid. Sometimes it's just answering this is the right way to go or that plugin, but it really complements what people have been desiring for years. WordPress is a hugely, hugely growing community of software and tools and services. But because of that, and because most of the creators just don't like to talk to people directly, it's like huge demand, but no one to talk to. So think of me as like the personal shopper or the concierge at the hotel. Can you please tell me what's fun to do? How can I get tickets to the show? Can I upgrade my room? This is what step two always is. And you can just click over at WP-Launchify.com to do that. And then finally, after we've had a free call, I will often recommend something for free, or a strategic call, a technical demonstration, or maybe even some full ongoing care, including the other complementary services. So for example, Jonathan's service with WP-Tonic is the, let's call it the metaphor, the hands-on team to do the thing that we might be showing you or teaching you how to do. We may take the role as the expert architect or engineer or the overall helping you understand how to make it happen. But there are other people offering the plugins and the software, as well as like Jonathan's team, the service of they will actually be like the contractor, the bricklayer, the people who mechanically help you get it done if that's not something you can do on your own or directly through our consultancy. So those are things that are non-contractual, non-expensive relative to the outside world, but can get you literally from, I had a problem and I didn't know where to go, to, oh, it's much easier than I thought, in a matter of sometimes just a minute or a couple minutes or an hour. And I like to pride myself on the fact that I'm always available. Now, I may not answer the phone every time, but you can assure yourself that whether you go to the website or our Facebook page or just use help@wplaunchify.com, I answer hundreds of emails a day because I'm in the relationship and pain point solution business. And I've been doing so, as John knows, since 2006. So I've had many successful companies that have had tens of thousands of subscribers. I really thrive on making solutions for people. And that also extends into the software that I either directly write, like launch flows, or the ones that I directly help with, like WP Fusion and so forth. Oftentimes, your problem is something that would be a wonderful addition to one of the existing plugins. And how cool would it be if you had a question and I'm able to facilitate that making itself into an actual part of one of the existing plugins? So solve your pain, improve it for others, and so forth. So that is my presentation, and I pride myself on that. Was actually a little faster than normal, but that is where we're at. Now, the actual stack of plugins itself will depend on what you get at, let's say, going over to WP-Launchify.com. Like if you answer certain questions a certain way, you might get a little different stack. But let me just outline real quick what it would typically amount to. You're going to need your hosting, which is a different conversation. You're going to typically have a way to take people and onboard them. And in a paid membership site, you're going to need to take money, typically recurring subscription. So in those cases, it's almost always going to end up being WooCommerce as my first recommendation, as well as one of the plugins like WooCommerce subscriptions to help you take recurring payments. Yes, there are other ways to get paid. Yes, there are other plugins. But again, short of you taking your own discovery journey, that's a good spitball starting point. From there, you're able to bolt on your favorite CRM, like outside world might be ActiveCampaign or Drip or Salesforce and Fusionsoft. Inside, a plugin might be Fluent CRM. Connecting that to your site with WP Fusion allows you to take the transaction of buying a product in WooCommerce and you get a tag, like a movie theater ticket. That is what allows the person to not only as a user be seen as having that, but it also synchronizes to the CRM so you can follow up with marketing automations that are based upon, oh, if somebody gets this tag, do something. Then you have typically a learning management system if you're offering lessons through courses and so forth. Lifter LMS, LearnDash are ways to organize content and get all of the benefits of things like quizzes and tracking or groups or any of the higher end features of organizing that kind of stuff is already built into an LMS plugin. When you have a tag that somebody has purchased, then WP Fusion also makes it possible for you to automatically be enrolled into the course or courses that are available to you as a member. And you might have caught this, but let me just emphasize, that means you don't need a membership plugin anymore. Why? Well, WooCommerce onboards the people, takes the money. WP Fusion connects you to the CRM and gives people, takes away tags if they've got the product or membership subscription product. The LMS is what protects and organizes it based upon whether somebody has that tag. There's not much left for the membership plugins to do. It would be redundant. Now, some other plugins can be added in there like Launch Flows. Our Launch Flows plugin gives you that sales funnel experience. So rather than being stuck with the WooCommerce kind of Home Depot, now you can offer a product that is like a lead magnet, a sample. Here, get a tag that lets you have access to a sample of our lessons. And in the middle of the course, you can upsell them. Go, enjoying this course? Click here and get 50% off if you join as a real member, and sell them a new tag. That new tag unlocks the rest of the paid content. Launch Flows modifies WooCommerce, works with your favorite page builder, and allows you to change that Home Depot into a concierge level. What would you like next based upon what we know about you thus far? And there's other things that people add. Gamification, events and scheduling. A lot of people want to do affiliate references, so like Affiliate WP. All of these are configured, snapped together. And then if you're using an implementer, a service provider, a contractor like WP-Tonic, the benefit is that they understand, because we've trained them or we've given the information out, how to go forward with using this model versus the old-fashioned plugin model. And as a result, you can focus more of your energy on running your business, creating the content for your membership site, creating the social network things to kind of promote what you're doing, instead of trying to become an expert at WordPress. And for the cost value proposition, the ownership of your own stack of plugins is, like I said, a few hundred to maybe a little over $1,000 a year. If you're using a contractor like WP-Tonic, the cost of their hosting packages will often build that into the monthly amount, which is terrific. And you get the benefit of understanding that the core of this solution that I'm describing is 100% guaranteed future-proof. You own it, you control it, you can snap in and out anything you want, and with the exception of whatever third-party services you still use, maybe SMTP email, maybe if you're using ActiveCampaign or an outside CRM, other than those outside services, you literally cannot have anything taken away from you, and you're not locked into somebody's rental cage like a ClickFunnels or Kajabi or Kartra or any of those things. So that's a good example of how simple, inexpensive, and straightforward a membership site can be. So you can literally just pour your content into something that's beautiful, manage it with an easy interface, either Gutenberg or classic editor, and have thousands upon thousands of people at your disposal in the future to help you out if you ever want to add new features or change stuff. It's just avoiding the mistake that a lot of people have been making of using some old-fashioned all-purpose plugin. They stick it in the basis of this, let's say, new construction, and then they get disappointed because, oh, so close. I could have done so much, but because I got that one clunky plugin, everything else is stuck. And that's what we're trying to help people avoid. That's it. My presentation is done.
Yeah. Do you mind, because maybe on session 3, we can go into the CRM, either ActiveCampaign or Fluent CRM with Elementor. But with this session, do you mind, I don't know if you've got a demo site that you can
well, I mean, I can give you a quick, I don't want to make it too much clear, but I can show you, like I have a demo site here that I can show you a couple things in just to give a sense.
Just show how you set up WooCommerce with subscription with WP Fusion.
I'll show you a couple basics here because this is the full session 3 thing, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. But let me show you. Let me show you here a couple things. So here is a WordPress website that has the components that we talked about, right? It doesn't matter whether I'm using this LMS or that LMS, but I would typically have either Lifter LMS or LearnDash, and that would organize, let's say, my lessons and courses. I have WP Fusion, which connects the various plugins together. I have launch flows, and I also have Fluent CRM. Now, what's interesting here, what I want to show you is the basic idea. The CRM keeps contacts, and it manages the tags, but actually inside of WordPress, so does the user table. And the reason that they're kind of like strangely related, but still doing different jobs is like up until Fluent CRM, the CRM was always outside of WordPress, right? It was like at a hosted site like ActiveCampaign. Fluent is kind of neat because it brings it in. Here's what happens. Typically, you would create a product in WooCommerce, and you would make a membership product. Maybe it's a one-time payment. Maybe it's a subscription. Typically, subscription is a good idea. This subscription product would be something that you would sell access to for a certain amount per month, right? So as simple as when you go into creating a new product, and forgive me, I'm on Comcast, so my internet is dodgy at best. So here's a product, and we might make it a simple subscription, virtual, and we might say you're paying, I don't know, $50 every month, and it just runs till forever. What I would do with launch flows is I would choose, is there a custom checkout page that this product gets purchased on? Do I need a custom thank you page? Do I have something that gives people a link to the content they just bought? And some other cool features that make it very easy to just give a link to buy the product and go immediately through the checkout versus wandering the aisles of Home Depot hoping to figure it out. With WP Fusion, you'll see there's an option here that allows us to give you a tag if you buy this. So for example, if I'm selling something like the lead magnet sample membership or whatever, I simply give a tag when they buy that represents that product. Now, why is that important? That tag can either unlock access to the whole site, unlock access to a page or a post, or unlock and automatically enroll somebody into a lesson or lessons or an entire course. So the process of doing this can also be reversed. You see here, remove tags. You click this button, and now what happens is it has a rule that says, If the person is paying, they get to keep the tag. If they stop paying for any reason, payment failed, canceled, put on hold pending, I'm going to take this tag away. And it'll give you back when you start paying again. So what we've just shown, like as simple as that, is like, so what we've got is an ability to organize content, pages, posts, learning management system. If I need to take a new user, I can create a custom direct to checkout experience with one product that will take money every month, give the person the information they need to immediately go into the lesson, but also add them to my CRM so I could do some automation follow-up, which I'll show you. But they can also be tracked when they consume the content. So let's say they're in lesson 2. I can actually say, give them a tag, says, viewed lesson 2, completed lesson 2, took a quiz, and so forth.
I think I just want to clarify for our listeners and viewers how this is such a great example, is that what I got from that is by using WP Fusion, you can add pages, lessons from whatever learning management system. You can select what content in your WordPress website that's going to be linked to that WooCommerce product by using WP Fusion, and then you can link it to a CRM. And by using WP Fusion, you get that linkage between your product and access to your CRM. And that and the other benefit of using WP Fusion is if you ever get fed up with a particular CRM, because you use WP Fusion, it's reasonably easy to move to another CRM.
Yeah, exactly. So, and by the way, that's a new feature. Not that particularly, but the idea. Jack is just introducing Monday a new feature to WP Fusion, where with Fluent CRM in particular, you will be able to control multiple websites all through one installation of Fluent CRM. So one of the benefits of Fluent CRM is that it's a plugin, but that caused a little limitation for some people because it only worked on the site that you were on, right? You only could keep track of contacts in that site. With WP Fusion's update, now you'll be able to have, let's say, multiple websites, and the contacts from any of those websites can all connect and be aggregated in the one website that has Fluent CRM on it, which is super cool. Something like you said you could already do with ActiveCampaign. And if you switch CRMs, you could just pretty easily switch from ActiveCampaign to Drip to some other thing, and it would synchronize the users back to your new choice. What I'm showing you here as well, and I'm not sure if this is still sharing. It looks like it's sharing. Let's see. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. StreamYard doesn't look like it's catching up.
I think what we got to stress is a lot of people get stressed out with this, because of the concept of tags. But it's very, as long as you just start off with 2 to 3 products and you link the tag to the lesson or the course, it's not that complicated, is it?
No, let me show you how simple this is. So I was just speaking fast, but I just said, for example, you sell a membership product, it gives you a tag, right? Tag is like a movie theater ticket. That tag can be called anything you want. Maybe in this case, I called it like, pink tag or lead magnet tag or purchased membership. It doesn't matter. Now that somebody has this, as I'll show you in a second, we can see in the CRM that they've got that, so we can segment them out and maybe send an email to everybody who joined as a member and got the tag that says, welcome on board, and here's what you should do next. But in the website, you don't need a membership plugin to protect content, because let's say I make this is a course or this is a page, it doesn't matter. You'll see here that I can implement with WP Fusion the ability that says user must be logged in to see this, and here they require 1 or more tags. If I say you need to have the lead magnet tag, then none of this content will be visible to you unless you actually hold the tag. And if you were on a subscription and stopped paying, I'd take it away. Now, when you think back of the sales process, what's so cool about that is that it means that you can build a sales funnel with launch flows in WooCommerce that directly sells somebody one thing, but immediately offers them other things just by giving them extra tags. And I've got an example of that here. We've shown this before, but like if we go to Launch Flows demo, where we've got this set up with some sales funnel stuff, Here's an example 4. I start out by selling a free, and let me log in, by the way, that would make this easier. So I start out by selling a free or a low-cost sample of my first course. Like this is a, sample of the big membership or something. With launch flows, I can design it any way I want with my page builder. But you'll notice instead of going Home Depot, I just went right to the checkout. And here I just pay with whatever method I want. It will keep track of your credit card and make it that it's one click in the future. But watch what happens. When I'm done buying this, it just does 3 things. It takes me immediately to a custom thank you page. In the thank you page, you'll notice there is a link that takes me, because of launch flows, directly to what I just bought. And I'm already enrolled in the course. Now, how did it do that? Just as simple as what I showed you. We had a product that allowed you to get the members tag. So here, for example, course access was the product. We scroll down for $50. Launch flows, I told it which checkout page, which thank you page, which next step. I told it only to be bought by itself and so forth. WP Fusion, it gave us a tag called Can Access Course. Well, how did it get me enrolled in the course? Simple. With Lifter LMS or any other page or in the Learn Dash, you can go into the courses area, and we'll see here for that sample course, I set it up that one of the rules was with WP Fusion, please link this course and auto-enroll somebody if they have the tag that they just bought. Ta-da! Now, you can even do more with that. We've talked about this in other examples, but let me show you one cool example of upsells and downsells. So let's say, for example, instead of one product, I want to start with a sample course and so forth.
Can I just add a comment? Because I want to see if you're a fan of this. I'm a big fan of offering an inexpensive mini course to my, if I'm trying to build a membership entrepreneur building an educational platform, and these are cold leads that are entered my funnel in various ways. I think offering a mini course at a low ticket price is a great way of building your relationship with the prospect, and a lot of people, and then offering them a medium course or a high price ticket course, offering them some alternatives either in the shopping cart process which you're showing, or offering them when they've completed the course, which would be marketing automation. They'll be sent an offer. And I think until this stack was available, you really did have to look at something like ClickFunnels or some other SaaS
pages or Infusionsoft or Salesforce. Yeah,
you really had to. But I think what we're trying to get across in these series of webinars is that's not the case now. That you can, and that's why we're recommending this stack, is that by understanding tagging and just moving yourself a bit forward when it comes to tagging and using WP Fusion, then using your launch flow product that gives you a one-page checkout, and then the possibility of upsells and downsells, and using WP Fusion to link with WooCommerce. The reason why we're doing this, it opens the total possibility of building modern, with Elementor as well, building really sophisticated funnels totally inside the WordPress ecosystem.
Correct, but without the complication. One of the things that I want to emphasize, and to your point, as these tools evolved from SaaS components into WordPress pieces, and as the WordPress pieces are now able to be connected together, the psychology of marketing has also changed. So one of the things that we offer expert advice on through WP Launchify is not to market in the old-fashioned way. And we are definitely going to talk about that in session 3. There was a time, and like Ryan Dice and Perry Belcher at Digital Marketer are well known for this, that they would have recommended get somebody's email and send them 65 drip email follow-up messages to nurture them. In 2021, you would be laughed at. You would hear that sucking sound out the door as people leave. But by having a WordPress content management system as the core, you now have a sort of a dynamic fun house where all the cool stuff you want to offer to people is there. The email follow-ups from the automations are not now going to be for nurturing. They're going to be like, hey, John, something exciting is happening over in the membership site. Go there. And when somebody clicks it, they get a tag. Or if they show up, they get a different tag. Or if they interact, they get a different tag. And they also can fill out information about their choices in the form of fields. So you're able to build a virtual dossier, a profile on every person. But what they get is not this like, oh my God, I got to schlep through another 65 emails in my inbox. They go and hang out at the Playboy Mansion or the Fun House or the rock and roll, whatever you're got going on at your website. And they don't even know it's work. So the automation capability is essential to make the journey of the user fun and non-time wasting. For you, you're trading that experience for knowing what people prefer. And they don't even mind it because you're not doing anything nefarious. WooCommerce is amplified by launch flows to give you a way to not make them have to shop by going through the aisles of Home Depot, but rather go right to the checkout. And also, like I was going to show you here, if they check out now, says they have their credit card, the next thing is not the thank you page. The next thing here is going to be, I know you want this upsell.
And through your work with your team using launch flows, you've integrated it with Animator, so you have drag and drop widgets, and it's so easy to use now, isn't it?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be Elementor anymore. So, it's any page builder or Gutenberg. The point, though, is that you don't, rather than thinking about the customizing of the layout, which is cool and important, it's about the mechanics of WordPress and WooCommerce are now at your fingertips. So, for example, you create a product like we just showed you, but you're not forced to show it in a shop or a single product page or a cart or a standard checkout. You can literally say, I've got the products and I know the IDs of the products. I can now use the products any way I see fit in any layout anywhere, even like here. Yes or no, I want this. Either way, now it's a one-click checkout like Amazon.
And like I was saying is like you could do this, you could offer a medium product in the actual, when they purchase the initial lead magnet course, and then you could choose when they're finished and offer a discount to get them to buy the medium product. When they've finished that medium course, you then could offer them a more one-to-one coaching experience, because a lot of our users are either their e-commerce, but they do offer a lot of coaching as well.
Let's use that example.
All the flexibility that you're looking for, which was only accessible on something like ClickFunnels, something like you said, that would cost you $35,000 a year.
And it was a lesser quality. I mean, first of all, Russell Brunson is a revolutionary genius marketer. ClickFunnels as a product, as a service, it's okay. It's capable at best. This setup with the best-in-class WordPress plugins is literally the best of the best. You're able to get better because each of the individual authors becomes the expert at making their feature their plugin. And so it's like one of those all-star rock bands. It's like Paul McCartney and Eric Clapton and Prince and oh my God, versus, your favorite band is good, but it's not the same. Let me show you.
There's nothing, just to finish off, there's nothing worse than starting on a platform and then finding that it's got a fundamental weakness which won't be resolved. And you're in midway of trying to build your business, and you're having to jump ship onto it's like trying to jump from one moving car to another moving car. It's so nice to start off small with a platform and know that it's got all the functionality and you can just stay with one platform.
The number one thing you get when we teach you how to do this for free or through a paid consultation of some kind is we can see your future. I have going on 35,000 clients or student relationships, 15 years. We've tested or have a relationship with almost all of the authors in WordPress. I see your future because others have been there before you. And you don't know it yet, but the thing that we deliver to you is an understanding of if you go down this path, you will arrive at the destination you desire versus the other pitfall paths that are going to get you a couple ways down the road and then you're going to fall off the cliff. Some rock or boulder will fall on your head. That is the problem that most people have. Shiny ball syndrome, there's too many things to choose from, or Frankenstein monster. I've built something that has one or two bad problem plugins or services. Now I have to fix everything or kill the monster. We can help you avoid that from the beginning by having this very modular, bulletproof foundation of a few plugins that have all been proven. Because again, the interaction I've had with the author's talent itself, they've made their plugins work like an electronic consortium so that they complement each other instead of banging into each other. And like you said, unlike a platform, the biggest problem with the platform is not often that it doesn't have the feature. It's that that it doesn't have a problem. It's that one of the features falls short by like an inch, right? Like, oh my God, it does everything I want except that one thing. And now what do? You can't write code or add something on to ClickFunnels or to Kajabi or any of those things. They're platforms. They'll let you interact with what they give you, but that's it. With WordPress, you're never stuck because even one of the plugins like we author or I help support, they can be extended through their APIs or through interacting with the code or through the child theme or anything. So let me give you a quick example here because this is going to be a sneak peek of like episode 3, session 3. Here's Fluent CRM's dashboard. Now, the difference is between this and users is that these are people who could be, and more likely than not would be, starting out. So there are times when you are not yet necessarily going to take somebody and register them as a user, but you may have them in your CRM. For example, maybe you have like 1,000-to-1 ratio between cold leads and actual customers. You might have 999 contacts and only one customer, one user. But for most people, this ends up being kind of a parallel set of people to the users. But what I can do here is I can take any particular user and we'll see a couple things. First of all, in their contact profile, in our new metaphor, we use one list. In the old days, you used to have multiple lists and bounce people around. Here, it's like one list per business idea or business thing as a best practice. And then you can see here tags. Well, I keep track of what the user has seen or done by way of giving them or taking away tags, right? So in this case, I can directly in the CRM give somebody a tag. Guess what? That's not a bad way to add somebody to your membership site, right? If you needed to throw somebody in for free manually, just go to their profile here, add the tag, ta-da. Most of the time it's going to happen like I just showed you, however, they're going to buy a product or check out with a free product. But you'll also notice that we can keep a dossier of all the custom fields about a person. We can also see...
Can I just ask a quick question? I'm just getting a little bit confused. That tags the lead mate. Is that added by using WP Fusion?
Correct. Well, no, yes and no. No. In this environment, I'm in the dashboard of the CRM. So this is Fluent CRM. This actually has tags just like ActiveCampaign or Drip or any of the other ones would. What I'm doing here right now was I was manually adding a tag. What WP Fusion does is it connects the user profile over here, users, to that particular contact profile. And in doing so, watch what happens. If I go into the user profile, well, you can kind of see it there anyway. I can see the very same thing, right? I can go down here and see what tags does this user have. But the contact profile is a way for us to use the CRM directly. So I was going to show you a couple examples. Let me get through this, and then at the end, you'll be able to see what I mean. So here in the contact, if I was to go and let's say pick our test user, I have the ability of tracking all kinds of things about the person's preferences, right? All the custom fields about what their favorite color, what's their blah, blah, blah ID, their first name, last name, email. I could see things that I've sent them via automation emails. I could see things they bought, right? Through WooCommerce. I can take notes if it's a high ticket selling thing. Oh, that John Dunwood, he's supposed to buy me, John is a big fish. He's ready to buy. I can keep notes of those things. But more importantly is you're going to use the automations. So here under the automation builder, this is where the rubber hits the road. Somebody buys a WooCommerce product, right? They get a tag, pink tag, lead magnet, whatever. I create an automation here. Follow up from buying membership product. Okay. Now I have choices of what the triggers are: WordPress, affiliates, CRM, WooCommerce. This would be one where I could use the CRM or I could use WooCommerce because they both would interact with the products. If I go to CRM, I say, which of these is the trigger? Oh, tag was applied. Well, sounds good. Which tag is it that's applied? And if you remember, I just used the example of run when the contact is added. And I was using, I think, the lead magnet tag, right? So now I've essentially made it possible to create a very quick and simple automation that starts when somebody buys and receives this tag. Well, what can I do next? Typically, the automation would be things like sending a follow-up email, right? I could wait a day. Maybe I'll wait 5 hours, or I'm sorry, maybe 1 day. There's the day. And then the next thing I'm going to do is send an email. So I say action and I say send a custom email or send a series of emails. And maybe this email would be something like, hey, John, how is the new product working out? Okay. And if I want, I can also add things in here like a button or a link. If somebody clicks the link, I can give them a new tag, says they opened the email, clicked the link, and did something else. And so I'm able to add to their contact profile things that will track their behavior. And eventually I will be able to see for any group of people all the things they have, and I can do what's called segmenting. So you see over here, I only have 2 users, but see how I can filter by tags? Tell me all the people that have previously gotten the lead magnet tag. Oh, I'm going to send this particular group of people specifically a certain thing, and so forth. So this is what we're going to talk about next, but you are right about one thing. This is the system that now...
I think that's a great compliment. I got one thing right.
Yeah. No, I'm saying like you got it right in the sense that this kind of control is something that used to be the exclusive domain of Infusionsoft or Salesforce or HubSpot, but then you had to use their janky CRM, CMS tools. You had to use their janky checkout stuff, their janky form stuff. Now you're liberated from that because now you can use 99% WordPress best-in-class stuff. And if you do have Salesforce or Infusionsoft or HubSpot or any of those, you can still connect it. Or you can consider, if you're at beginning stages, going with something like Fluent CRM, which, by the way, is a free plugin to start and would keep everything in one box. So I'm like so excited about Fluent, and Shah Jahan and his team are doing an amazing job because
it's obviously I'm English, so sometimes I come across a little bit less excited, but I totally agree with you, Spencer. It really is so exciting, especially with Fluent CRM. Right. Just a quick demo. I know you're going to go in a lot more detail in session 3 of our webinar series, but just you've shown a bit in this session. It's so exciting, isn't it, Spencer?
I mean, it's just amazing to me that like 99% of the people that call me come from something to do with WP Fusion at the moment, because Jack's plugin is indispensable. And Jack and I have this really good working relationship. It's complementary because his plugin works with everybody's. It's like the secret sauce, the USB cable. And it's enabled me to be able to go out and build services and relationships with everybody else to herd all the cat community into this. WordPress is a platform. And so WP Launchify is essentially, I like to say, taking over where WordPress Automatic itself has not been doing a great job to explain, you know what the best platform in the world is? WordPress. You know why? Because if you follow what you can learn from WP Launchify directly, you will have exactly what we're talking about. Best in class everything, own it and control it, no rental. And yet, if you didn't know this and you went into the WordPress.org, WordPress.com, you'd be like lost in a mall of a million options. If you go to launch, let me just say one thing here. Let me just say one thing. Anybody who, I apologize, just so I don't forget, anybody who wants to start goes to Launchify, and you can either click the button to do the free discovery, or you can click the schedule a call, and that's how you get started. And I want to bring that up because last time people were saying, where do I go? Where do I go? So sorry about that.
That's fine. And I just wanted to say, and I hope you're okay with this, that if you look at the WP-Tonic platform, you get quality hosting that has been set up for a membership entrepreneur. Plus, you get the full stack of plugins, everything, the pro versions of everything that Spencer has been talking about. Right. Plus, we keep all the plugins working and the core WordPress. Plus, we offer the email functionality on our starter plan. We offer up to 5,000 users unlimited email as part of our plan. Plus, we offer video hosting, which is the equivalent of Whistler or yes, thank you. We offer that as part of the package. So it's a pretty extensive. We're trying to offer you everything, all the power of WordPress without some of the frustrations.
Yeah, and I think what's important to bring together is how that's a symbiosis, because see, 99% of the people in the WordPress, you've lost your hearing. 99% of the problems that people have in the WordPress space are based upon the fact that they either have too many choices or they get a choice that interferes with what they want to do. One of the benefits of what we do consultatively at Launchify is there are people with whom we continue all the way through their build out, but those are people that already have an internal team member or themselves who want to essentially snap the Legos together. Many of the people who say, I don't have that, essentially need what you're doing, which is, I would like to say, putting together an entrepreneur's concierge commodity pack. That is to say, we work and understand what Launchify is doing. Therefore, we're putting together the kind of like everything you need in one box for you. It's the hosting, it's the external services, it's the personal concierge understanding of what you're going to do using this method. That allows us at Launchify to stay at a higher level, kind of like the architect or the engineer or the personal producer, and allows WP-Tonic to be the implementer. And you do it, I have to admit, at a really, really attractive price, because the cost of your package of the software bundle, the service, everything else is the cost really of less than some managed hosting by itself, where you're left to your own devices and it doesn't do it.
We start at $55 and we can build out the whole website for you. Obviously, that's at a different price range, but we do offer packages where we can build out the whole thing for the client, or the client can use templates and follow your advice and the training you provide and have a go at them themselves. It's totally up to them.
Right. Okay. So for anybody who is like seeing this video, you can go to WPLaunchify.com, or you can follow the WPTonic.com/webinar link to this 100% free WordPress membership site webinar. So this video of today's will be in this link here on the number 2 in the middle. And then number 3 will come out as of June. I can't believe we're saying June already, June 11th. But we don't spam anybody. But if anybody wants to get the links and the follow-up, please just put their name and email in here, because we've set up one of our own automations, just like you've seen, that says, look, have they seen the first or second videos? If not, send them the links. If they've started now, send them the third. It's just our way of automatically giving you exactly what you want. And it also describes what we're doing here. So you can see in session 3 a little sneak peek of what we're going to talk about. So I invite you to visit this. And hopefully today was valuable for a lot of folks. I know I speak fast, but the reason I speak fast is because I'm trying to do like an infomercial where I jam this amazing thing that many people have already discovered into whatever we're doing here, 45 minutes, an hour, and understand that you don't have to go this fast. You could just go back to WP Launchify and click that blue button and schedule a call. This is as simple as this, right? Pick a date, or just start your own discovery here for free, and it will ask you a series of questions. And again, this is in beta. It's getting better and better, but we're programming in all the nuanced use cases based upon, you did this, and this, and it'll spit out a custom menu eventually, a custom budget, next steps, and so forth. So it's really...
I think we've given why it's so important use tagging, and we've shown a little bit of tagging, and we've shown why we're so excited around Fluent CRM, and why I think anybody watching this session, Spencer, should get excited as well, why it's so important and why it's so powerful.
I want to make a clarity though, just for fairness. I love Fluent CRM and what they're doing. It is a dream come true. And Shah Jahan and his team have been incredibly responsive to everyone's suggestions, including my own. Don't discount though, because we use it ourselves. There are services like ActiveCampaign. They are the old school where we get a ton of our customers. Salesforce, Infusionsoft, Drip, HubSpot, and so forth, even MailChimp. The reason that this is a game changer is a lot of credit to Jack Arturo, again, a colleague and a very well-loved guy who created WP Fusion, which connects all of these things together. Where I bring this into this conversation is to say, many of our clients and people who need help already have certain components they're married to, right? So if you're a WordPress implementer and your client has Salesforce, your pain is that you need to figure out how to connect the worlds. So don't believe or think that we're just saying you have to use Fluent CRM, as great as it is. You don't.
And I just want to follow through on that with all our clients, on all our plans, they get a full copy of WP Fusion Pro on all our clients have it, and we install it automatically, and we encourage them, don't know if they're going to use Fluent, that they still use WP Fusion, because it enables you that you're not stuck with one provider. You then have the capacity, if you wish, to go to how many platforms I think Jack supports?
They're close to
200, isn't it?
No. It's like closer to 50, which is still 50. A lot. But there's really it's really a long tail. I mean, ActiveCampaign is our favorite that we support at WP Fusion because it's got the most power and it's got the most substance and history and all the rest. Fluent of that type of plugin is the only one right now that we can honestly recommend that is a CRM plugin in WordPress. So you've got all the SaaS ones. ActiveCampaign is, but the ones I mentioned, including the old school, Infusionsoft, Salesforce, and so forth. And then you got the plugin one, which Fluent stands alone. It's worth mentioning, though, like I said, that for many people, the best benefit they get from all of this is awareness that this thing could exist. They get a free call, and then from there, sometimes people do a very simple, inexpensive, maybe it's $100, direct consultation, or maybe it's a live technical demonstration that we set up for a few $100s. But the point is that the savings come from two things. Number one is getting the answers you need to your particular pains from somebody personally in a way that's tangibly proven to work through this system. Number two is that being given the definitive recipe and next steps and cost, so that either on your own or with, again, contractor like what WP-Tonic is offering in a package, you can just focus on your business. And even then, the cost of ownership and control and having your business is a fraction of what it would cost you to rent from a platform like ClickFunnels, or gosh forbid, doing the old school way, trying to build something like this out on a Salesforce or an Infusionsoft directly. It will cost you an arm and a leg, and it will have all these custom contractors that do it the best they can, but with a set of tools that does not compare in the least with what you can do out of the box when you know how to do it with WordPress. And that is the emperor's new clothes version of this whole thing, is that they won't tell you that at Infusionsoft or Salesforce. They'll recommend people to come over to WordPress with WP Fusion, but they won't tell you, oh my God, look what you can do with all these other things. They'll be like, no, come over here and buy our deluxe something on our platform. And that's what's so exciting to me about it. This is like incredible leverage for hundreds of dollars a year, maybe a couple $1,000s in build out costs, you know, which would have cost you multiple times that in the past.
That's great. So we're going to wrap up our presentation. I've really enjoyed it, folks. We see you next month. I think it's the 11th of June. It's the second Friday of the month. And we'll be delving into all this exciting technology a bit more. We'll see you soon, folks.
See you then.